Tomura Shigaraki doesn't have enough hands to count all of the things he hates in this world. But the one thing that has really earned his ire is the hero killer Stain. Stain kills, Tomura kills. Yet, even after he invades USJ and unleashes Nomus on Hotsu, the public won't stop talking about the hero killer. His face is on the newspaper, his life story is making headlines, his videos have ungodly amounts of views on YouTube, and even some stores are selling merchandise all about him, for crying out loud. What's worse is that people have started thinking that Stain has joined the League of Villains, as if that piece of shit never got past the interview stage. But some people who, for some reason, follow him and came to Tomura believing Stain is or was a part of the League. In other words, they are here because of Stain, not Tomura, and that pisses him off to no end. Now, normally in a situation like this, Tomura would destroy Stain, wash his hands, and play some video games to calm down. But since Stain is in jail, he needs another way to clear his head. Like maybe take a walk and reevaluate his role as a main shonen antagonist, and talk to a therapist or two. And lucky for him, Dr. Izuku Midorya was taking a day off from school to prepare for a summer training camp. After sitting the boy down, Tomura takes his time to talk about his problems. Okay, not all of them, but the one that's important. The one that's been bugging him so much for the last few days. What does Stain have that he doesn't? Izuku stays quiet, thinks about it, and answers. I don't accept what either of you two do, but I can sort of understand what Stain is at least trying to do. He is living by his ideals. That word, ideal, strikes a chord within Tomura, and everything becomes clear. The air becomes thick and heavy, and Izuku finds it hard to breathe. The villain smiles a wicked smile and thanks Midoriya. He finally gets it now. Tomura then leaves with a spring in his step. People live and die by the ideals they follow, and he is no exception. Nothing has really changed. He still wants to destroy the things he hates, and the thing he hates most of all is society. All might makes people at ease, knowing his shining beacon protects them from the darkness. But what would happen if that beacon is gone? What then? How long would their fragile society last without their symbol of peace? I want to keep this short because there's only really one thing to say about this chapter. This is the turning point of My Hero Academia. Um, Going from a not so much kid series, but a lighthearted take on the superhero academy theme, and going for a much more darker route with it. Not as dark as we'll get much later in the series, but the lights dimmed a bit, and that's perfectly showcased in Tomura Shigaraki. Um, the best way I can say it is that he now has a goal in mind. Uh, and that goal is, well, the destruction of society by killing All Might. And this is the chapter, and that goal is fueled by his ideals. In that All Might makes the people feel too safe, and they ignore everyone else who is truly suffering. That sort of thing. Uh, which perfectly foreshadows his backstory quite well. I have to say, but yeah, at this point we didn't know about that, so yeah, he went from a man child to I wouldn't say criminal genius just yet, but more like no like no no he went, he didn't go from a man child to a criminal genius. He went oh fuck sorry he didn't go from a man child to a criminal mastermind, I should say. He went from a man-child to a criminal genius. Yeah, yeah, and in terms of villainy, I would say he's above petty thug and like he is a villain, but he's not a super villain if you know what I mean. Yeah, yeah, he hasn't really nailed down that presentation aspect of the job yet. Yeah, but don't worry. Come the next art, he's gonna crank everything up a notch via his his diabolical plan. Uh, yeah, yeah. So going back to what I said at the beginning of this is the turning point of the series, and yeah, yeah, and I think it's a perfect milestone because it shows Tomura interact with Izuku Midorya, a person who is also growing as the series progress, and you can pretty much tell looking back on it, on the whole story, how it's building up to their final clash with each other. Izuku Midoriya versus Tomura Shigaraki. All Might versus All for One. That sort of thing. And yeah, overall, I like this chapter. The wording, yeah, and this is a perfect demonstration of how Horikoshi takes his time to flesh out, not so much the heroes but the villains as well. Like this chapter is mostly all dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. Just and that dialogue is dedicated towards developing Shigaraki, and I love that. I love it when a series that develops its villains alongside its heroes. Makes it more dynamic, if you ask me. Yeah. Ooh, and and I have to mention the artwork in this chapter. Now, most of the time, the artwork is pretty good. But there's one panel in this that just is incredible, if you ask me. And if you read the chapter, you know what I'm talking about, so I won't spoil it here. So yeah, overall a good chapter the, that's an even better turning point for the rest of the series moving forward. And with that, I have nothing left to say about this chapter. Okay, I'm that guy with the tripod, saying out until the next video. See ya.